Welcome to the 2020 Virtual Candidate Forum. Our desire is to create informed voters by giving the Plant City community an opportunity to meet every candidate on their ballot.
At the Greater Plant City Chamber of Commerce, we are a connector and convener in the community of current and rising leaders. When we all work together, we are Plant City Strong.
This event would not be possible without community involvement. We would like to thank Tampa Electric, Fried Egg Productions, South Florida Baptist Hospital, the Hillsborough County Farm Bureau, and the many other generous supporters.
Without further ado, let's hear from this candidate.
Hi, I'm Tina Pike, and I'm a member of the Greater Plant City Chamber of Commerce. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Kathy Lewis, and she is running for State Senate District 20. Kathy, can you give us a quick introduction of yourself?
Yes, again, I'm Kathy Lewis, and I am a candidate for State Senate in District 20. It's a special election. You know, this is our second time running. We ran in the 2018 election, and we were very competitive. So when the current senator resigned a month ago or so, we decided to gear up again, and here we are. So, but a little bit about me is, you know, I've been told my entire life, my entire childhood, that things were unwinnable, and most of my adulthood. And parts of even our party said that this seat is an unwinnable seat, but they don't know me. You see, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I grew up in one of the worst places in the country, an unwinnable place, surrounded by poverty, gun violence, illegal drug use, learned helplessness, unwinnable at every turn. And every day of my life, there was an active shooter outside. I have a cousin who was shot by a stray bullet, miraculously survived. Another cousin's daughter, 4 years old, shot by a stray bullet, miraculously survived, but has, you know, debilitating brain damage. My friend at age 15, head blown off with a shotgun at age 15, accidentally. And my own mother was shot by a stray bullet and miraculously survived. And she's 86 years old now. That happened when I was 10 years old. So when you hear about this gun violence, and in poor neighborhoods, it's not just bad people shooting and killing bad people. None of my family members were criminals. We were just poor. My father was one of the first African-American firefighters in Baltimore. My mother was a homemaker. And I scratched and clawed my way out of the hood, if you will. I got to Johns Hopkins University. I graduated from there. I met my husband there, who also graduated from Johns Hopkins. I have, and my husband, an interesting thing is my husband has a bachelor's, a master's, an MD, a PhD, and an MBA, and he is an African-American man, so I like to brag about that a little bit. So we value education. I have a daughter, graduated from Johns Hopkins as well, was a Fulbright Scholar, Rhodes Scholar finalist, and lived in Korea and is fluent in Korean. And I have a younger daughter with a disability. And I can tell more about why I'm running, because that is why I'm running. But I didn't tell you all that about the gun violence just to sensationalize anything. I tell you that because escaping poverty leaves you with a very particular set of skills. I know how to solve problems. I know how to win against insurmountable odds. I know how to get things done in a fearless and caring way. And that is one of the reasons why I'm running for office.
Very good. Well, you actually veered into the first question too, was why you wanted to run for office. Do you have anything else to add?
Yes, I do. The reason why we are here and the reason why we did it in 2018 is our daughter has a disability. She's 23. When she turned 18, she automatically qualified for certain state benefits. We weren't sure what these benefits were, but we did all this enormous paperwork and studies to get her in the system. And we did, and then we had to wait because they wouldn't tell us what her benefits would be. And the benefits that they were even talking about were inappropriate or ineffective. They weren't going to work. So I wrote a letter. I was frustrated. My daughter doesn't sleep, and that's one of the things we were struggling with. We tried to accommodate that. We couldn't. You have to sleep. And so 3:30 in the morning, my daughter finally went to sleep. So I had it. I wrote an email to 75 people, starting with the Health and Human Services Secretary. It was Tom Price then, all the way down to those in charge at the Agency for Persons with Disabilities in Florida, lawyers, anybody I could find. It was about 75 emails, 75 people. And I said, I'm going to send this email every day until somebody does something, because this is outrageous. Well, I sent it at 3:30, but at 9 a.m., Dr. Price's office called me. I almost fainted. They told me to call the administrator for disabilities at 10 a.m. She answered. I almost fainted again. And that lady told me she had already spoken with the people in Florida, and she was clearly angry. And if I didn't hear anything in 2 days, to call her back. That was a Thursday. By Tuesday, my daughter's case was completely funded and ready to go in 2 business days. That's a whole nother nightmare and another story of when we got the benefits. But what it did to me, it made me incredibly angry that I had to do that I had to write to DC to get the people in Florida to do their job so we could access benefits that are there. We weren't asking for anything new. We were trying to access benefits that were there. I couldn't sleep at night. I was thinking about, what are other families doing? And this is a healthcare issue. If you don't have a child with a disability, some people feel removed, or a family member, but we will all need a care provider at some point, unless you die at age 100 in your sleep. And with this pandemic, a lot of us are dying sooner. So it is a serious problem, and it made me angry. And that sort of ripples everywhere, because if we're ineffectively managing that piece, we have a lot of problems. That's why I decided to run for office, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Okay. So during your time in office, what do you plan to do for the Plant City community?
Well, we have to start out with the pandemic. I mean, it's very hard to even move beyond that until that is solved. We have to expand Medicaid even more now so than ever, because of the disease that's going around. We have to create a living wage for everyone. And I'm sorry, we as business people have been part of this problem of poverty and having people, I have the situation with my daughter. We have care providers that make $10 an hour. You simply can't live off that. I mean, you just can't. So they have 3 and 4 jobs. So we have the most exhausted people taking care of the most exhausting people. It's a nightmare. So we have to fix that. And I know that that's troubling, because we can't see how businesses can do it, but we simply have to. So those are the things that I would work on right away, amongst others, teacher salaries and things like that. We still have all these other problems that were there before this pandemic, and those are still there. We have to get to those too, but we have to fix this major, major problem right now.
Okay. So due to the decrease in tourism and spending this year, how will you address the budget shortfalls?
Yeah, that's a big problem. I mean, I imagine that there are some savings from schools being closed in repairs and things like that. So I imagine there's some money to move there because of COVID-19. But there also has to be some savings in this standardized testing. That is one of my other issues that I would like to address. I assume, I don't know if we're going to test or have tests, but I assume that there is some savings there with that money. But what we really have to do, we all have to study this issue. We are in new, nobody really knows. This is a new situation. And, certain policies certainly have put us in a deeper hole than we need to be. But we'll have to study it carefully and figure out where to go from there. Also, I'm sure we have a rainy day fund. Maybe we can figure out a way to move some of that money as well. And pray that we get a vaccine soon. Because, my husband is a surgeon, and I can tell you the last 10 days, my husband has been in our home 22 hours. That is how hard he's working. So we don't see all of this in the widely spread news, but I know firsthand that things are a mess and are really getting bad. So just from my own personal life. And the ironic thing is, right now, our retirees are basically the only ones with a guaranteed income. And we have to keep our retirees safe and healthy so they can continue to support our economy, because it's just ironic that that's the only one in this crazy pandemic that really have a guaranteed salary, because everything seems to be on shaky ground. So that's it.
Okay. So on that, where will you cut and where would you prioritize?
Well, we can't have no new building projects. I mean, no new building projects, and that means for transportation, education, whatever. If there's something that's near completion, I think we should finish that. But anything else, we have to wait. Break no new ground, okay? We certainly can't expand the toll road or do anything like that. We certainly do not need new roads now. I mean, we have fewer people driving because of COVID. There are fewer people on the roads. So doing a road expansion just doesn't make sense right now. That's a way we can cut. Also, there's another piece, and this is very specific to me. My daughter is part of Medicaid, and me seeing all the other, once she got the benefits, I see enormous waste, fraud, and incompetent programs that are designed to help people with disabilities, but they only pay people who are helping people with disabilities. It's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. So even with expanding Medicaid, there are ways along there that we can cut that I know firsthand because I'm in the trenches of it. And we can get there as well. Those are the three things that come to mind as far as what we could cut.
So I have final question. If elected, what is your priority for your first term?
Yes. As we are, and it's kind of, you know, it's, as I said, I ran in 2018. It's so amazing and astonishing even how different this campaign is just from a year and a half ago, because everything is sort of overshadowed, grouped, engulfed by this pandemic. And right now, that would have to be a priority. Managing that, beating it. I guess we have to wait for a vaccine or some sort of treatment before that could be truly done. But expand Medicaid again so that those who have lost their jobs because of COVID and those who get sick because of COVID who have lost their jobs have some protection there. There's a lot of inefficiency and abuse in Medicaid. And as a person who is in it, I would never have thought that, because I always thought they always want to pick on the people who can't advocate for themselves. But I see it firsthand, and there is money in there that we can save with these sort of silly programs they have that don't benefit these people with disabilities at all. So there's savings there as well. Teacher salaries is another one. We spend an enormous amount of money on standardized testing. And I think we have to stop that. We have to take that, and we always say we don't have the money to pay teachers. The money's right there. Give the job back to the teachers to teach our children, test our children, and determine who is passing or failing. And take that money, and it's millions of dollars we spend on standardized testing, and give it to the teachers' salaries. That would be one of it. And of course, the third is the environment. And I don't mean just the natural resources. COVID-19 is an environmental problem, and we have to figure out how to solve it and make sure something like that doesn't happen again. And even if it does, we have to have emergency situations and sessions so that we can figure out how to solve it together.
Okay, well, Kathy Lewis, candidate for State Senate District 20 on behalf of the Plant City Chamber, I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Have
Appreciate
a wonderful
it.
day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.